Hey, gang. Thursday, January 2nd, 11:01, 99.1 WDJY, 1490 WWPR is no more. I got to stop saying that. Oh, habits. Try it again. Just start again. 99.1 WDJY. Maybe if I read from my sheet, America One Radio, go to AmericaOneRadio.com. Listen to Progressive Talk, Rainbow Radio for the LGBT community, Yerg's Radio, Positive Talk in a Negative World, and tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, we're going to confirm the rumor that we're growing. Just this mic. This mic is rough. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be stiff, but unfortunately, that's the only boom that's stiff right now. We are growing, and one of the things we're going to talk about today is actually where we're growing to and how we're doing it. One of our current affiliates is going, actually, two of our current affiliates will likely be seeing more hours of the show as we work towards filling out the entire week with them starting next month. Not this month, as we had initially hoped, but starting next month, we're looking at Chicago. And starting, I don't know exactly when, we're looking at a podcasting platform where we will eventually be able to go live on that platform. A very popular platform. They got their start as a show on SiriusXM. And they were released at the end of a contract because SiriusXM was rebranding some certain things. Who's crying? What are you doing down there? I got a puppy on the floor just crying as she's chewing on rope. So yeah, we talked yesterday. Really good conversation. And I think it's going to come to fruition. I got to talk to some other members of their team today or tomorrow. And that's why I'm not being any more specific. Because I don't want to, fall. I got that capability. You know that. I've got that capability of jinxing things. So, fan mail today. And as usual, we're going to track Trump, monitor MAGA, and watch the wokies. But fan mail has kind of been interesting the past couple of days. Some of the things we got that we're going to share. Some advice from listeners, advice to us. Instead of us giving the advice, they're saying what they want, and that's awesome. I'm glad to have that. A lot of support from as far away as Germany. Yeah, Germany. And from my home state in Pennsylvania. And I think we got some from Florida. I got to see what's actually come in. That reminds me, I got to check another inbox before we get started. It's actually going to be, move that over there. I got to check another inbox before I get started about that, because it's kind of an issue, especially when I've been kind of asking a bunch of people to check in. Okay, good. So yeah, but first, our morning motivation for today. Oh, now I can't get out of this. This is funny. I don't know if you were. There we go. When I stream this show on video, some of the platforms are just capturing my actual screen, which means right now they're actually seeing my dashboard. So to make their experience a little bit better, I expand and cut out all of my tools, and I just see the actual program. Well, then when I need to go do something, obviously there's some things I got to rearrange and get rid of and whatever. But today, I gotta set this up a little better. There we go. Today's morning motivation is from Gary Vaynerchuk. You know him as Gary V, first generation American citizen. I think it was his parents who immigrated from Eastern Europe. And just in the whole spirit of the new year, I'm just kind of taking one of his. I've got, as you know, most of you who are familiar with the show, when we do morning motivation, it comes from a file that I keep on my desktop. Anytime some celebrity makes some sort of quote that is relevant to me, that I've been inspired by it, or it has affected me, or something like that, I capture it in some sort of graphic, and I put it on that in this. I include it in this file that I keep just on my desktop, open on my desktop, because I need quick. I'm in it daily, obviously. Sometimes multiple times a day if I use it for the show, and then I find something else during the course of the day, and I add to it, etc. Gary Vaynerchuk is in there something like 14 times. I don't know which one's got more, but the top two are he and Steve Jobs. And Gary V is just so, what I like about him, he's just so down to earth and real. I remember he told a story about one of his speaking engagements. He was asked to speak for an hour, and he was told that everybody's going to be dressed in business suits. And he was like, okay, I'll be there for 15 minutes, and I'll be dressed in the clothes that I come in. That's it. This is me. And that's why today I'm a little bit bundled up. I'm in jeans and a cotton long sleeve t-shirt. But usually the shirts that I wear on the air, for what that's worth, on a radio show, but obviously it's also on video now, it's my jet ski shirts, like Under Armour type material. And I've got a ponytail or a man bun. Point being, not exactly what you would expect from a Secret Service agent or retired Secret Service agent. Point is, I let it go. This is me now. And in all actuality, this has always been me. I just was never able to express it. Well, yesterday we had Anthony Melchiori from Hotel Impossible as our celebrity quote. And it was about, resolutions. We're only 2 days into the year. So I think it's still a good opportunity to include material like that. And Gary V says, stop. Stop overthinking everything. Stop skipping your workouts. Oh, that's a kick in the balls right there. Because that's something I get my mom and I confess to each other we need to get better at. Stop listening to negativity, and we're going to talk about that too. Stop missing opportunities. We're going to talk about that. Stop wasting your life. Oh my God. Will I spend the next year talking about that? Overthinking everything. I used to do that. I used to, what if this and what if that? And, if this person doesn't like me, and what are they doing right now? And look, if they're cheating, if they're, not interested in you, I've come to the conclusion and developed the strength to not care or be interested in them. Yeah, that could be partially why I'm still single. But it's one of the other quotes I almost played for today. Says, it's better to be with no one than with the wrong one. And just as I just keep moving through a house That's a construction site, a bank account that should be bigger than what it was. So many things that I can't control. So I don't. I control what I can. I don't overthink about things that don't have any meaning to me anymore. Skipping my workouts. Yeah, that's got to be a priority again. And I think later this afternoon, we're going to make that happen. Listening to the negativity. Now, that's not saying don't accept constructive criticism. And we're going to talk about in the fan mail today. I'm getting some advice from a conservative fan who's a Trump supporter and doesn't really know my background and the life that I've made about being impartial. But I will hear this person's advice nevertheless. So the negativity, I love, and we talked about this, really talked about this all week. My brothers who can't seem to be supportive in this really trying time that I'm going through, having lost everything in a hurricane, in a flood. I was home for Christmas. Not once did they ask, and I'm not crying, I got allergies and my eyes watering. Not once did they ask how the house was, if I've heard from the county or FEMA, which, by the way, I haven't. So, yeah, Trump, here's an opportunity. And here's an opportunity for you. And I don't think this was Biden's fault. He could have done better with it. And one of his underlings certainly could have done better when they emailed their staff to not help people with Trump signs in their yard. That was kind of bad. Shady, go lay down. I have a puppy at my feet. She wants to sit up on my lap. She thinks she's a lap dog. Come here. Get up here. You coming up? I got a show to do here. Come on. So this is Shady. Those of you can see on camera. This is my son's dog, but she lives with me because he lives with his girlfriend, and they've got a bunch of other dogs already. And Shady's still a puppy, as she proved earlier when she pooped on the floor. That was awesome. Stop missing opportunities. I had to delay one opportunity, and that was our expansion to Chicago. That was supposed to start this week. We wanted it to start this week, back before Christmas. My agent and I looked at different markets, looked at different opportunities, and I just cannot afford almost $4,000 a month to go to number 3 market yet. I'm not there yet. But I can take some of that money, increase the number of hours that I'm here in Tampa at another station that's been good to me, the Tan Talk Network. And I can do that same thing to another station that's been trying to help us expand and has been good, and that's KSHP in Vegas. So while we're not going to Chicago like we wanted to, we're expanding in 2 other markets where we already existed. And so we're not missing the opportunity. Yesterday, I got a call from a friend who's also in broadcasting, and we discussed putting my show up the middle on his network, starting it off as the pre-recorded podcast that we're getting back into creating from the live show, with the intention of moving to live streaming it like he does with his show. And to the best of my knowledge, we would only be the second show on his network that's live streamed. I think everything else is a podcast. So that's awesome. And he's got a great following. We'll talk more about that tomorrow after I talk with him later today. Or actually talk with his co-host and partner later today, who is more their chief engineer. We'll talk about the streaming side, and I actually have to have my own server here to do that. Forget about Restream. This is something totally different, and we would be using their pretty high-end account to do it. So, yeah, I'm psyched. This is what we wanted. And so we're not going to miss that opportunity. And that's really where I'm focusing 2025. I've spent the past 53 years doing things for other people. And I'm not saying that's going to stop. I've got an amazing young man that's my son, this week or next week, starting his second semester in college. I'm still, as you see by the puppy that's on my lap, taking care of his dog. There's other people at Yerg's Radio and throughout Mastiff Media that have been good to me, that I'll continue to be good to them. Shout out to Beth and Uella joining us on Chatter, one of our new platforms that we're trying out. Message me, email me at newz, at Yergz, Yergz, if you would like an invite to join via beta. It was kind of like a VIP thing. You can chat on it, but it's not part of the rest of the chat that's throughout, the rest, we can put on the screen and so on. But you can also unmute your mic and talk into the 60,000 people that we're talking to right now. So that's why when you are joining via Chatter, we ask that you keep your mic muted until, we say, hey, what do you got to say? And it's kind of like taking a phone call, except you're right there with much better audio. So ultimately stop wasting your life. And that's what I'm going to do. From developing Mastiff Media, the stations, my friend is also interested in our LGBT station that we want to launch this year in time for World Pride. Can you get down? Can you get off Pop's lap? I have a show to do. Oh, kisses. Thank you. Yeah, just what I need. Wet puppy kisses right on my tongue. Ugh. She's a sweetheart. And yet it's just the overall positivity that we talk about at Yerg's Radio. Positive talk in a negative world. And this is how I want to start. I actually really want to continue my entrance into 2025. It's 11:20 on the East Coast, 8:20 a.m. on the West Coast. Puppy's going to have to get down. Lay down, baby. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, Pierre's pot, and we'll track Trump and the stupidity that he's done already. 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this.
Hey, gang, it's Yerg's. Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Jurg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai.
All right. So I want to reach out to our fans on Chatter and Uella. Maybe where should go? Let's see. Oh, I can't unmute her. Uella, if you can still hear
Hi.
me. Yeah. Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Sorry about
There's an
that
echo.
confusion a moment ago. But how's it sound now? Sound good?
I can hear you well,
Good.
but I've got an echo.
Okay, so we're aware of that. And I think it's because when I reach everybody on Chatter through I do it through my desktop account, not the phone account. And the reason for that is, we just played a commercial that you should hear. If I take a phone call, you should be able to hear that, and so on and so forth. If it's just through the phone, which is just me, you won't be able to hear that. So Nelson, Jonathan, Nazil, they're all aware of that. And when they launch 2.0, they're hoping that they get that wrenched on.
Okay.
So how are you liking Chatter?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to version 2.0 when all these hiccups will be sorted out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing. They're not working on any of the kinks.
Version 1 things.
Yeah. Because why?
Yeah,
It's got like 2 weeks left, maybe.
exactly.
So I get that. But yeah, how we got fan mail today, and a lot of it's going to deal with how people follow politics and what they look for in political reporting. What is it that that you look for when you look for the news and about politics and so on?
Very good question. I look for accuracy as far as that is possible. Without all the biases,
Mm-hmm.
as far as possible.
Right. Let me find something else. There we go.
I'm trying hard not to be distracted by the.
I'm wrenching on a bunch of things. We're actually playing and working on tweaking some things ourselves. So when I share the screen to broadcast the show, sometimes I just share the application that I'm actually working on. But what I'm learning is that if I just share the entire desktop monitor that I'm doing it on, everything looks better. What are you seeing it now?
Well, that's in a good picture. So it's full screen yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the flag in the background.
Yep. So that's a perimeter thing that we do. I can take that on and see. So watch this. As I make an adjustment to it, you see my whole dashboard. You see that now?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's not exactly what I would want for you to see.
Exactly.
But if I were to play this on another screen and I use that video, it wouldn't be in sync with the audio. So I just do this stuff quickly. Like, there you go. I can take that away. I just do this quickly and then go back to the broadcast like that. And that little bit, I mean, who cares, right? You know, this isn't a TV show. You know, it's something that I'm doing like this. But yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts. I've got some other things I got to handle before the next 33 minutes winds down. So,
I'll let you get on.
yeah, but hang out, listen up, and let me know what you think.
Okay.
Send me an email or direct message. I can put the email on the screen too. Where we at? God, I got so many of these. There we go. You can email us news, NEWZ, at yergz, YERGZ.com. And is that pronounced Uella?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, definitely looking forward to you coming back again. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, 4 p.m. London time. We actually are in London on Fridays, by the way, on the UG. The UG is in like underground .media. That's their website. Go to their XL channel at 4 p.m. London time and tune in live on Fridays. That show is then replayed on Tuesdays at 2 or 2:30 London time. Not sure. But all right, Uella, thanks again. And definitely check back again soon.
Okay, I'll listen on.
Thank you, dear. All right. So up next, we've got a bunch of... Oh, where'd they go? They were on that desktop. Hold on. We got a bunch of emails that I had opened and I wound up closing the application. So I just got to do some scrambling here. Let's see. Amy is on that one. Yeah, there we go. Put that over there and minimize that. And then the others were some messages through Facebook Messenger and some others. So fan mail, Amy from Pennsylvania. We were talking last week about kind of the stupidity of some people in Christianity that don't realize some of the holidays that we, and I'm Christian, that we as Christians celebrate are not Christian holidays. And Christmas is actually one of them. Jesus was born in the spring, according to most scholars, right around the same time that he was crucified. But his birthday celebration was moved to Christmas, the holiday of Christmas, which is not, it was originally not a Christian holiday. It was done to accommodate pagan religions that were being absorbed by Christianity. And then we got to talking about Halloween. And I got to talking about the differences between Halloween here and LA and San Francisco, in DC, other places that I've lived, compared to Pennsylvania, where I grew up. In Pennsylvania, we went spooking, not trick-or-treating. Like a spook is like scary or whatever. And we did it for like a week, not just Halloween. And the reason for that was when we dressed up, it was, oh, excuse me, coffee's working its way back up. When we dressed up, it was for hiding our identity. And I would go to your house trick-or-treating and stand there until you guessed who I was. Sometimes that took a while, but it was also fun to try to guess who your trick-or-treaters were. So while we as kids wanted to go out trick-or-treating, we also wanted to be home to be able to receive trick-or-treaters and take part in guessing their identity. So it would go for about Halloween plus the first perhaps 3 days before the actual holiday, which, by the way, none of those days are the actual holiday. The actual holiday, again, pagan ritual, is November 1st, All Saints' Day. And it's where you pay tribute to your ancestors, which, by the way, is also my birthday. So anyway, we were talking about that on the episode last week, and Amy writes, Halloween is different in small towns. Yes, good old memories we still do have. Well, so much going on politically. I wish I was a more organized speaker when it comes to my critic type opinions and what not to join / call in someday. We were taking callers, and I think that's what inspired her to write about not calling in because being shy. But yeah, well, I must restrain myself, Ross. Seriously. Love you though in your efforts. Keep up the good work. And I'm one of those listeners with only flip phone. Well, see, that's the best part. If you've got a flip phone, you can call. You can call 1-888-88-YERGS or 844-GAY LGBT and talk to us right now, for that matter. I'll leave it on the scrolling one. And yeah, the question we asked the other day, where are you in 2025? With regards to Gary V and everything he says, what are your plans for 2025? So that's Amy from Pennsylvania. Hope you had a great Christmas and stuff. Talk soon. Then John Carlo in Tampa writes, in politics, I would like to see a stronger commitment to LGBT rights, ensuring full legal protections and societal acceptance for all, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. There should also be a focus, all right, somebody's emailing. There should also be a focus on advancing Latino rights, including fair immigration policies, access to quality education, healthcare, and representation in government. Lastly, I want to see true progress on equality rights, addressing systemic racism, income inequality, and gender disparities to create a society where everyone has equal opportunities and respect. A political system that prioritizes inclusivity and justice for all is essential for a better future. And it's John Carlo in Tampa. Thanks, man. What else am I getting here? Bill from Pennsylvania writes, a friend of mine, FBI now believes New Orleans attacker acted alone. Retired senior Secret Service agent Tim Speece reacts to latest terror probe. Tim was my field training officer when I was a young agent. So we might have to bring that on tomorrow. I got to write. This is a colleague of ours that's sending this to me. Rob Winters writes, hey, I'm not a huge fan of politics, but I appreciate balanced, fact-based coverage that helps me understand the issues without feeling overwhelmed or polarized. Hence the name Up the Middle. That's what we do here. Maybe focusing on how policies impact everyday people or highlighting solutions rather than just problems would be great. Thanks for asking and thinking about me in the community, Rob Winters. I think he's up in Canada. We've talked to him before. And then where is Stacy Ann writes, Yergs, the best I can suggest is allow your bias against Trump to not cloud your ability to be truthful on what is good or bad happening. I know Trump will make mistakes, but there will also be successes. Just be honest. That is the best way to serve the community. That is a recommendation for a journalist. Not many on either side can do that. Be that change. Happy that your audience is growing. Wishing you prosperity in 2025. So yeah, about that.
Sorry.
About that, I spent my life being impartial. I was a baseball umpire when I was 12, an ice hockey referee at 13, and a police officer by 28, I think, 27, 28, something like that. I've spent a life on being impartial. And as a historian and political scientist by education, I'm not lecturing anywhere, but except for here, but I'm not with a university, but that's my degree, is history and political science. I'm not affiliated. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I am a registered independent as a voter. And that's important because it allows me to not follow party lines. I have guns. I've read the Bible. But by the same token, I don't consider myself religious, where I follow an organized religion, so much as I am spiritual and still consider myself a Christian. So I am from both ends of the political spectrum. I voted for W twice, George W. Yeah, I want Donald Trump to do well. I'd love that. Because while I lost in the election, meaning that I did not see him winning, I saw Kamala winning it. And obviously we know that didn't happen. So I was wrong there. But I would love nothing more than to be wrong again. And for Trump to be successful. Because if I have to say, I told you so, it's not going to go well. Uala, I see you get your hand up and you moved back to the audience. I'll bring you back up on stage. In fact, make you a co-host if anybody else shows up. No, it's not letting me do it for some reason. There we go. So yeah, that was Stacey Ann. Brian Wallace in Texas writes, I'm looking forward to Trump inauguration coming up. We need to use resources from within the USA and not rely on foreign imports as much. Yeah, that would be great. But then we need to bring those jobs back. And here's a Trump example. When he ran in 2016, he was in, I think it was Ohio, at a Carrier air conditioning plant, making a promise to those workers that he would not let their company move overseas. Within the first quarter of 2017, Carrier air conditioners were made in Mexico. Trump never, what's the word I'm looking for? He never addressed that issue moving forward. So, yeah, Stacey, there was one mistake. As for resources, I know one of the biggest things was funds that go to Ukraine or to Israel. I can tell you that the amount of money that we've sent to Ukraine is nowhere close to the amount of money that we've already sent and have been sending to Israel. Yet it seems as though folks on the right are okay with sending money to Israel, but not okay with helping Ukraine. Well, I want you to think back 250 years when we weren't a country yet. And, well, I'm going to make you a co-host if I can. I'm trying to. That way anybody else appears in the audience, you can screen them for me. We would not have won our independence against Great Britain had it not been from France. Now here we've got Ukraine, who's independent already. They've lost the Crimean Peninsula illegally. We did nothing about it. And now now Putin wants to take more. And because everybody's afraid to put boots on the ground, he's kind of sort of doing it. I mean, he's really struggling. If you actually take an objective look at his performance, his country's performance in Ukraine, they're struggling. He brought, I don't know how many thousands of North Korean troops in to help him. They turned on him. They attacked the Russian troops. How'd that work out for you? So, yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, that's all the but yeah, tomorrow I'm going to put my buddy Tim Spiess on, see what a retired agent. Yeah, see, there he is, sport coat or blazer, collared shirt, short haircut. Clearly did not let it go. Still has the look. Me, not so much. But hey, do whatever you want. It's your thing. So there's the fan mail. We did the morning motivation. Who did I say was going to be the recipient of today's Piers Pot? I've got to look that up. Let me take a break. I'm going to look this up and see who I had promised Piers Pot today, the recipient of our coffee. And so 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Massive Media Network. We'll be back after these words.
Hey, gang. Does your house smell nasty? Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yerg's. I'm burning right now leather-scented candle. That's right, leather-scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yerg's and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yerg's Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your weather?
Yeah, we don't have that sponsor anymore. I got a bunch of sponsors on one file, and I got to edit a bunch of those out. So he built great websites, and I was happy to have him a part of it. But with what we provide him and what he's now asking us to pay for services, it just doesn't make sense to continue that because it's not fair. We've been giving him all kinds of free commercials forever. And so speaking of one of our newest affiliates, DNR Studios. DNR stands for Derek and Romaine. They are a show that started on Sirius XM years ago. I mean, I met Derek when he was still on Sirius XM. He lives up in the New York area, and I met him when I was up there with Hillary. So that's 2007 to 2010, somewhere in there. And we reconnected because apparently we had a mutual friend who sadly is no longer with us. But our friend John, someone that I knew and come to know in when I was living in LA. They were good friends while John was living in New York. John passed away suddenly right after I moved here to Tampa. But yeah, hopefully he's resting in peace and has found peace. But Derek and I maintained contact after that, but while being reintroduced through John. And he's in broadcasting, I'm in broadcasting, and he is our recipient for today's Pierre's Pot. Pierre Robert is a disc jockey in Philadelphia. He is on 93.3 WMMR, a rock station in Philly, has been there since 1981. And yeah, I mean, that's amazing enough. But from the San Francisco Bay Area, when his rock station there changed format to what was called urban country. I don't even know what that is. Do urban cowboys ride motorcycles instead of horses? I guess. I don't know. But the station changed its format to urban country. He gave it the good old college try, and it just didn't work. So he left. And speaking of college, a friend of his asked him for a ride across the country to college in Philadelphia. And he said, well, I'm not doing anything else, so might as well get you to school. So they did. They hopped in Minerva, his minivan, his Volkswagen bus, and that was Minerva 1. She died, and he acquired Minerva 2, which has since received a huge facelift. It's just your basic hippie bus. And they took Minerva 1 across the country. And while here, he put in, here being the East Coast and here being my home state of Pennsylvania, he put in a tape. That's what we had to do back in the day. You actually created a tape that you would send to program directors of radio stations in effort to get hired. He was turned down by MMR. And so he's just kind of vacationing with his friend in the Philadelphia area. And I believe he was in a neighborhood known as South Street. It's the touristy section of Philadelphia. And he was seeing a psychic who told him to go home. There was a letter waiting for him. And so he rushed to his friend's place, began packing, and just before leaving, his friend walks in and says, hey, this letter came for you. He's like, nobody knows I'm here. And it was program director Joe Buonadonna from 93.3 WMMR, the station where he left the tape. And because he had no other address, he left his friend's address as a return and point of contact address. And that is rock history. He's been with MMR ever since. He's now like 70 years old, has hair and gray hair like me, and long hair and gray hair like me. And he does a thing where he does a toast of the morning sauce, where he cheers somebody who's a good citizen, as he calls them, otherwise known as a honored listener. Ours today is Derek Hartley, my friend Derek, who reached out yesterday. And this is, I guess, tomorrow's big announcement. It's not really confirmed yet, but we are discussing putting this show on his network in the pre-recorded format. So it wouldn't be on there right now as a live show, but we are recording it and repurposing it for RSS feeds and podcasts. And that is one of the things, that's one of the locations where we would put our show, is DNR Studios. So that is the new affiliate. For you to sign up, feel free to do so. Go to DNR, D as in Derek, N as in me, Nimrod, R, Romaine, that's his co-host, studios.com. I'll put that up on the screen so you can see it. But go to dnrstudios.com, sign up. They've got a bunch of great podcasts in addition to their show, which runs daily from 5 p to 7 p Eastern. Of course, if I could type, that would be awesome. And we'll put that up there. Yeah, so GNR Studios, our new affiliate. We're sending people there. They're sending people to us. Go to dnrstudios.com. And Derek Hartley, the recipient of today's Pierre's Pot, a toast in your direction. Thanks for the opportunity. Flashback to today's morning motivation. Stop passing on opportunities. And this is one we're going to do everything we can do to take advantage of. Thanks again, Derek. And we're looking forward to working with you and seeing what this brings about. We got some Bossities says, you want to be victims instead of admitting you're the problem. I don't want to be a victim. And if I'm the problem, I fix it. Are you a Trumper? I mean, we corrupt our children and steal their innocence for the lies that suit us. Okay, stop thumping the Bible. Stop. I don't know. When you comment here, please give us intelligent statements. Make it a complete sentence. People put these comments up, and I put them up and make a total ass out of them themselves. They have no coherent thought. That was from, let's see, what time is it? It's 50. That was from 5 minutes ago. What was I talking about exactly? I was talking about Pierre's Pot. And now all of a sudden we're talking about children and stealing their innocence. Stop being a moron. And that's why you should be listening here or watching here, because I'll fix that for you. I'll teach you how to make an intelligent statement. Oh, so we got all that. Let's get into, so we got, with what time we got left, and I know we're going to lose some of it. We're not going to get to everything, at least not in this first hour. Trump, yesterday there was an attack in New Orleans. A guy drove down a street, I guess on a sidewalk, or New Orleans has a lot of closed streets for things like Mardi Gras and, in this case, New Year's Day. 10 people were killed. Then the driver, an attacker, was one of them killed, had an ISIS flag in his truck, was shot and killed by police. And what did Trump do? Trump insists he was right about everything after wrongly tying New Orleans' attack to immigration. And that's also going to be part of our monitoring MAGA. Let's see if we can bring this out here. There we go. So, yeah. Oh. The guy lived here. He was not an immigrant. And I had his name. A state trooper friend of mine gave me the info. But the guy lived here. He's not an immigrant. And yeah, he's, and that's what this other guy did, in our, where's he at? An actual Facebook friend, and I don't know really how much of a friend the guy is. I mean, he puts things like this on his, so that's by county. That is not indicative of the actual population that voted for Donald Trump. And this is the stupidity. So Stacey Ann, I hope you're listening. This is me being impartial. This is the misrepresentation of the 2024 election. Fact is, Donald Trump received roughly the same, I don't know the actual numbers, but he received roughly the same amount of votes in 2024, where he won, as he did in 2020 when he lost. Now, what does that tell you? Kamala Harris did not receive as many votes as Joe Biden, or for that matter, she didn't even pass Hillary Clinton. Of the three, Kamala Harris came in third. And so that's why Donald Trump won. And it wasn't by a lot, like this map suggests. So we'll go to here we go. This is the ignorance that these people spew out. Andrew says, and I don't sugarcoat this, I'm not going to hide this guy's identity when he puts it on his own Facebook page. If you don't want the world looking at you as an ass, stop being an ass. This isn't that hard. Terrorist attacks on American soil under Biden's administration keep making it easier for the greatest president. Oh, this is the part that I laughed at. And this is the ignorance that these people spew. They believe his stupidity. I'm talking about Trump. They believe his lies. Because when you, first of all, Biden is not capitalized. It's a proper name. There's no possession on the S, apostrophe S. It's his administration. The greatest president, you're actually not talking about a specific president because there's no facts backing it up. 1, 2, it's an opinion. 3, there's no name there. President, in that case, is not capitalized. Administration, this is singular. Current administrations, the way he has that's plural. Again, apostrophe S. Horrendous mess. Let me tell you about the horrendous mess. Donald Trump inherited an excellent economy from Barack Obama. Fact. He squandered it. Fact. We had an excellent reputation globally. He squandered it. Fact. We had a once in 100-year pandemic, not an epidemic, a pandemic. He called it a hoax and was nothing short of being a coward. I think we just lost, some of our affiliates cut out automatically at the top of the hour, so we just lost 99.1. I tried to stop and say goodbye and tell them where they can continue with us as we wrap up today's show. But as we wrap up, you can do that by joining us on Yergz Radio, YERGZ, radio.com, or go to mastiff.media to find any of the locations where you can get the show. That way, if you prefer to get it in video, you can do so. But anyway, back to the rant. He squandered an economy. He squandered a reputation globally. And he took COVID and handled that. Talk about horrendous projection much? I'm not going to support a guy who is the one that's the mess, Andrew. Stacey Ann wants me to be impartial. Stacey Ann wants me to be objective. Is this objective? Horrendous mess. Let's talk about Afghanistan. We got Blake Fisher, one of my Friday co-hosts, who keeps saying about how Biden was never able to recover from his failure in Afghanistan. Well, who negotiated the surrender? Which, by the way, the official term of what that was, we surrendered in Afghanistan. Thanks to who? Biden wasn't even in office when that happened. It was Trump. And it was Pompeo. All Biden did, though he could have made changes and done some things differently, all Biden did was honor an agreement that was dropped in his lap. And yet he's the one that's the horrendous mess. This is the pathetic, blind, and lazy attitude that I'm so sick of seeing from these Bible thumpers on the right, who, by the way, never even read the Bible. I just can't. I met this guy jet skiing, as you can see by one of the photos over here. He's, somebody likes being in the water. There he is with a jet ski. He's not a bad guy. Okay, this is not what, oh, I see what the problem is here. This is put out by this asshat. This guy here with the glasses and the Trump wannabe haircut is a far-right knucklehead named Benny Johnson, who's down here in Tampa. Stacey Ann, I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening. I know you've got a doctor appointment today and can't catch us live, but I certainly hope you come back and see this on YouTube or wherever. This is the bullshit that the right is doing. And I'm not saying that Rachel Maddow is any better. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that explosion that you see right there is not what happened at Trump Tower. A Tesla was laced with an IED and exploded on the street corner. That's it. One person was killed. That's wrong. That's bad. That's amazingly unfortunate for that person's family and the person. But that is not what happened. Now, Trump looking with the sourpuss face and crying, that's a possibility. Especially when we refer to President Elon. Protect Trump. Oh, God. Tell me again how you're not a cult. Tell me how that's not a cult. It's pathetic, is what it is. And I'm not even going to give Benny Johnson the time by playing the video. He's useless. And Amy, Stacey. Stacey even said about sounding boards like Benny Johnson. And that's why Up the Middle welcomes people from both sides of the political spectrum, because we present it from both sides. There's one more story to fulfill that goal. We're actually got a bunch that we'll talk about. I'm going to do it really quickly. We'll do it better tomorrow when we get the guys in. Matt Deemer from the left is a Democrat from Ohio in the Cleveland area. Blake Fisher is a Republican from Oklahoma City. They'll be joining us tomorrow for Friday Fights. You think this is motivated and spirited? Wait till the three of us get together tomorrow. But CNN's Abby Phillip, and I agree with this, the problem with the Democratic Party is not as simple as just wokeness. That's not the problem at all. It's disorganization. Voters, and these are all opinions, by the way, by these different people. Austin Surratt says that voters rejected a woke America. No, they didn't. It is time for Democrats to listen and learn. But, like, for example, here in Florida, two major left-leaning referendums were on the ballot for constitutional amendment. And that's the thing about it, made it challenging, was that it's a constitutional amendment. Nobody's just passing a simple law saying that we can do this or cannot do that or whatever. We're making a constitutional amendment. One was for abortion, to keep abortion legal, which failed because even though it received it was a decent, overwhelming, and otherwise passing majority of the vote at like 57 or 58%. Both of them came in like the high 50s. It didn't pass because to be a constitutional amendment, it needs to receive 60%. Well, it didn't receive 60%. It still got the majority, just not 60%. Same thing with marijuana and the legalization of marijuana as a constitutional amendment. Meanwhile, there are medical marijuanas every mile on US 19. So it's here on some level, and nobody seems to have any problem with it. Yet this is how they legislate morality in their mind, by forcing it to be a constitutional amendment as opposed to just a simple law, and thereby having a higher standard and more hoops to jump through. But it wasn't an issue of voters did not reject woke. And I didn't even get a chance to look at the Violence Against Women Act, so we'll put that in for tomorrow. All right, everybody. I've got some editing to do now because we're going to cut out some things and get them ready for the RSS feed. I want to thank Uella for joining us today via Chatter and everybody else that's there. Shout out to all of them. I can't read it. It's too far away. Uella, Beth, and Hoosie, and everybody else that stopped in and out. Let's see who was on Instagram. Sheree, New York. I don't know what that. Crying is okay if you were. Oh, I know what she was talking about when I wiped my eye. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Living the Life Chilling joined and checked us out. Bombs Away. Shout out to all three of you. And what I do on Instagram is I get a screenshot of those people that checked in, and I actually message them and said, hey, thanks for checking in. We're here every day from 11 a.m. to at least 12, sometimes 1 p.m. That's on Mondays and Fridays. We go till 1. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for going with us up the middle and running with the big dogs. This has been produced by Mastiff Media and everybody here at the Yerger Group. Thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow for Friday up the middle, Friday fights. That's always good. That's fun stuff. All right, gang. Thanks for joining. I'll see you again.